Welcome to the Mercury Retrograde Healing Energy Update. Today we'll be focusing on the energetics of the Mercury Retrograde that begins on August 4th at 4 degrees of Virgo and continues through to August 27th, where it concludes its journey at 21 degrees of Leo astrologically. From a human design perspective, this takes us through 3 gates and puts a very clear spotlight on the themes we'll be reviewing. But I will get to that in a moment. First, in case you're new to my healing energy updates, my name is Clare Zivanovic and I am an intuitive naturopath who merges astrology, human design and gene keys with anatomy, physiology and biochemistry. Yes, I know it all sounds pretty complex, but I'm going to break all of this down into easy to understand pieces for you. Okay, let's dive in. Mercury retrograde. Like always, it's the time when the universe is asking us to revise, rethink, redo, reconsider something in our lives. It's also when tech issues are super common, as are miscommunications. So being more mindful and patient during a Mercury retrograde will be vital, especially if you have any planets or points between 4 degrees of Virgo and 21 degrees of Leo, or if you have any of the 3 human design gates I'm about to talk about. Interestingly, this Mercury retrograde begins on the same day as the Leo new moon. Now, I have already created a healing energy update for you about the Leo new moon, and I will pop the details for that above and in the comments below. But it is interesting to note that that means that there's a new start, a really deep new start, beginning with all the themes that I'm about to talk about because it correlates with the new moon. Now, let's look at this from a human design perspective. Mercury retrograde begins its journey in gate 59, which is the gate of sexuality. This is sacral energy, and in your body it impacts the ovaries or testes, as well as the sacral plexus. The gate 59 is all about relationships, specifically intimate relationships. It's a playful, sensual, creative energy that wants to fuse 2 auras together to make a third. It craves transparency, honesty, and safety in relationships from both parties. In its highest expression, this is the energy of sexual mastery. What does all of this mean for the August Mercury retrograde? Well, it means that what we're redoing, rethinking, revising, and reconsidering has to do with our closest relationships. It's the ideal time to ask yourself questions like, are they serving you in your highest good? Is there honesty in your closest relationships? Are you being honest with yourself about how you feel in these connections? Do you feel good in these people's energy? Do you even want to be in the presence of these people? Is there authenticity in your connections? These are the types of questions that may come up for you between August 4th and around August 15th when Mercury is in gate 59. Now, just a side note about the Lion's Gate energy, which is on the 8th of August. On that day, it's super interesting to see from a human design perspective that the gate 59.4 is in Mercury and the exact same gate 59.4 is also in Venus. Now, this is telling us that there's a spotlight on the brotherhood, on the sisterhood energy of the planet. And considering that Mercury retrograde is happening during this Lionsgate, It's really about considering what the unions, what the relationships look like between the brothers and the sisters, between the collective on the planet. So it's really a time to assess how we can strengthen our bonds between all of us so that we can all enjoy relationships on a collective level where we feel safe, where there's honesty, and where they genuinely feel nurturing. Okay, let's jump forward to August 15th because this is when Mercury retrograde changes gates. It moves from 59 into 29, which is called abysmal, the gate of perseverance. This is sacral energy. And interestingly, it also relates to the reproductive organs, specifically the post-vaginal fascia and the post-prostatic fascia. The sacral plexus is highlighted too. So really we've gone from the 59 where we're talking about the ovaries and the testes, and now we're going down into a deeper layer of the reproductive organs, which is the fascia around that area. So before we look at what the 29 is asking of us, it's essential to recognize the theme here related to your reproductive organs. This is telling me that if you align with the energy of this Mercury retrograde, and if you do the inner work, is that you can begin clearing any stuck energy and symptoms of disease from your reproductive system. You may also make space to improve your hormonal balance if that's what you need. Now, this applies to both men and women. Okay, now let's jump back into gate 29. This energy loves saying yes. It's daring, it's transformational. In the Mercury retrograde context, it's continuing the relationships theme, and it asks you to dive deeper into your contemplations. Good questions to ask include, which relationships are you honestly only half-hearted about? And if you're half-hearted about a connection, do you think it's expired, or do you genuinely want to persevere in the relationship and find a way to strengthen the commitment that you have? Also consider if you are losing your authentic self in the connection that you're questioning, and maybe even saying yes too often when you really don't want to, or if you're feeling too much pressure to meet someone else's expectations. If so, this is likely creating considerable chaos and emotional waves in your life and your hormones. Now is the time to reassess if you want to continue living this way with these kind of relationships. The 29 is transformation energy. Even when it knows the transformation may initially create conflict or pain. But it's ready to support you if you realize that a connection is ready to be broken or released. Make the decision by trusting your gut, your sacral energy. Try not to listen to your mind because it's not where the messages, the guidance is coming from. It's your sacral energy center or your sacral chakra that is speaking to you. It will give you a yes energy to continue with something by showing you that your body lights up, that your energy expands. Conversely, your sacral energy speaks to you with a no. When your energy contracts, when your energy goes within. So notice when your energy expands, when you think about something, when you think about a relationship, or when it contracts, because that is the guidance you need to pay attention to during this Mercury retrograde. Once you reassess your connections by tapping into your sacral and trusting how that energy feels, only then is it time for your mind to come into the equation. This is when the Mercury retrograde energy shifts significantly on August 22nd into gate 4. This human design gate is called Useful Folly, the gate of formalization. Yes, it is a little bit of a weird name, but it has a lot of power. This gate 4 sits in the Ajna energy center, or your third eye area, and in your body it relates to the neocortex in your brain. What this means is that now is the time to take what you've learned and felt in the first part of this Mercury retrograde and start considering what changes you can make to align with your realizations. Go deep. Allow solutions to find you. Use your mind with grace and awareness, because you want to be careful not to overanalyze or overthink here. There is definitely a danger of your mind becoming overactive, and you may even swing between multiple solutions or multiple feelings about the situation that feel too much for your nervous system. Your body has guided you towards what is best in your relationships, and it's time to look at your situation from a new perspective thanks to this gate 4, so that you can begin creating the changes that will help you live more authentically. Begin by taking time to understand why you've been part of the relationships that you've decided no longer serve you. Turn within. Become the philosopher of your own life. You could also look at your human design chart to see if there are any clues there. Then, after you've gained a little understanding, it's important to set an intention to forgive yourself. Whatever you've discovered throughout this Mercury retrograde about your intimate relationships, it's important that you forgive yourself and possibly the other person for whatever reasons the relationship is no longer working. This gate 4 energy wants change, but don't be too quick to jump into the change, because this energy sometimes comes up with really fast answers or solutions that haven't fully been tested or thought through. So my advice is that you sit with your epiphanies and you allow yourself to observe them over time to see if they feel like the best or like a viable way for you to proceed or not. If you decide they're not ideal, then, thanks to the gate 4, you have the potential to gain insight, further insight into a new way to make the changes that you need, or to receive information or downloads that help you refine your initial idea. This beautiful gate 4 energy can help you formulate a holistic strategy, as I said, over time, that aligns with your new relationship goals. Now, throughout the entirety of this Mercury retrograde, there will be some amino acids in your body that will probably wax and wane as you reconsider your closest relationships. And that's because your biochemistry changes as your emotions, intentions, and your life circumstances shift. Now, this means that it's possible during this Mercury retrograde to experience a little more tiredness, fatigue, irritability, melancholy, unusual sensations in the testes, ovaries, vagina or prostate, tightness in the hips or pelvis, and immune system sensitivity. Of course, if you are worried about any symptoms, please visit your health practitioner for a thorough assessment. Now, here's 2 simple ways to support yourself during this Mercury retrograde. Number one, crystals. If you are into crystals like me, I suggest using jade and turquoise. It's because these crystals specifically relate to the human design gates that are active during this time. And number two, look into some herbs that can specifically support these organs, as well as those amino acids that I see could be in flux. The herbs that I recommend are oregano, thyme, peppermint, spearmint, and rosemary. Now you could use those as a tea or as a tincture or in your cooking. If you have them growing in your garden, even better. They can support you energetically throughout this time. Now, as this Mercury retrograde healing energy update comes to a close, I genuinely hope that these messages feel supportive for you. If you've resonated with any of this information or feel inspired by it, I would genuinely appreciate any likes, comments, or subscribes that you wish to share with me, because it will help my humble little channel grow. So thank you in advance. If you're interested in having a human design reading with me or learning more about my human design self-hypnosis audios for each energy type, I will pop the details below for you. Until next time, I wish you the very best of everything.